Hi, my name is Adam Westcurtis. I'm a CPA and work for DWD Technology Group. We provide financial management solutions to a variety of industries and have specific expertise assisting health departments. We've helped a number of health departments implement solutions that better track and report on key data. The first thing you'll notice is that Sage Intacct runs in the internet browser. I log in with my credentials. Everything is there at my fingertips. I don't have to install any software. Updates are automatic. Failover and disaster recovery are built into the platform automatically. As I kind of work from the top down, the other thing you'll notice is this can be set up as a multi-entity environment. This may not be applicable for all health boards, but if you've got multiple organizations that kind of roll together, you're able to have up to 1,000 companies under one umbrella. In this case, I'm logged in as the CFO, and I can see I have a very customizable dashboard on my main page. We call it highly configurable dashboard in the sense that all of these widgets can be dragged around and moved in any order that makes sense to you and your organization. It's as simple as clicking the plus sign to pin new widgets generated from any report in the system, and furthermore, any report can be turned into a chart and a graph. One of the first and biggest things I love about Sage Intacct is the drill down and hyperlink capabilities throughout the system. As I hover over the different numbers, you'll notice they change colors so that I can see more information. Also, on any of the reports, I can drill down and see the underlying detail. Furthermore, any report can be turned into a chart and graph, and not only can the reports be drilled down on, so can the visuals. So as I look over here, if I'm drilling down on June 30th activity, it takes me directly to that month's P&L statement. And in this case, I'm looking at only the expense side for budget purposes. Here, all of the underlying numbers are drillable and clickable as well. If I want to see the underlying detail of this $66,000, I can drill in and see more information. In this case, it was comprised of 4 journal entries and 1 accounts payable bill. Let's go ahead and take a look at that detail as well. Now, within 3 clicks, I'm down to what we call the source level transaction. And in this case, it was accounts payable bill, and we can see up at the top that it's been paid in full. It has a hyperlink to the payment method, whether it was paid by check, ACH, credit card, or an auto withdrawal. The heart and the guts of the application is really driven by what we call a table-driven chart of account structure. And this is where, for the health boards, it's particularly beneficial, especially coming off of legacy systems. Here you'll notice I'm tracking things like a base account. Maybe I'm tracking a department or a service. Maybe I've got different locations if I'm covering multiple counties. I have funders and grants that I'm tracking. Maybe I have different types of restrictions for my funds. I can have several different dimensions turned on in the database to allow me to slice and dice my data. And for those of you that are Excel wizards, it operates very much like an Excel pivot table in that manner. A couple of other highlights while we're here. Again, since I drilled down on the dashboard, I notice on this particular transaction it has an attachment associated with it. So this is features throughout the system. I can click the little paperclip, see the underlying information. As long as it's a file that will render in the browser, like a PDF, JPEG, PNG file, and other file types, it'll pull up directly on the screen. In addition, another feature that's unique to this system is as people start to go paperless, they're also trying to get a bunch of the communications documented and out of emails. And in the bottom left over here, I have what Sage calls the collaborate feature. I call it the instant messenger. But I can come out, and whether it's on a transaction screen, a vendor record, a journal entry, a purchase order, this is universal throughout the system. And I can come out and I can tag other users. They will get comments, notes, and other notifications as via email or directly within the system, or they'll have a hyperlink directly to the screen that needs attention. And last but not least, I'll highlight one other kind of nice feature here is there is the ability to reclassify transactions. Now, this is only applicable if I modify something in the current month. If the prior month has been closed, this doesn't become available, or if I don't have the right security permissions. I have a lot of different ways to be able to configure it, but it's kind of a nice feature if you've got some cleanup work to do throughout the system, I'm able to do that as well. And in this case, I could come out and charge it to a different department code. So we got all the way there by drilling down literally just on that one chart and graph. So let me give you some examples of some other things. If you want to see your cash balance over time, you can see that and drill down into those details. You can have manager type reports where you can see if you're over and under budget very quickly. There are some other capabilities out here as well. Maybe I want to check on number of individuals served. So a non-financial metric, Sage calls that a statistical account. Maybe you're bringing in data from an EMR system, a billing system. You're able to look at that. Maybe these are the number of hours worked by certain employees or headcounts. You're able to do that as well. And then as we continue on here, I've got some information about my collaborate feature. So I see the comment that I had there previously. I can also see up here at the top that there's a comment notification. And then also further down, I've also got some action items that maybe need my attention. So I can see purchasing transactions that need approval. So if I have employees submitting requests for purchases, I can do that. I can have things like journal entries. If I've got a staff account preparing something and I need to review it before it gets posted, that's all available in the system. So lots of different capabilities that I can do here. Again, I can have multiple dashboards in the system. I can call them what I'd like, and that allows other users, even those outside of the accounting department, to be able to log in and view that activity. Now in this environment, I've got a couple different dimensions turned on. So maybe I want to track things by different service or department areas. Maybe I want to track things by different locations. Maybe I want to track things by different funders. I can track all of those classifications and apply a filter, and the entire dashboard will refresh in real time. Now, Sage Intacct is a full-fledged accounting system. There are a lot of application items that are available. Most commonly, health boards are using modules that are kind of classified from this grants and funders module and up. This is included as a part of the core accounting system within Sage Intacct. Okay, so you've got normal general ledger functionality where you can run recurring transactions, you can post journal entries, you can pull in statistical accounts, you can pull in general ledger information and export to Excel for more granular reporting. You can do budgeting within the system, full accounts payable purchasing, you can do accounts receivable, you can do grant tracking and management within the system, and you also have the full-fledged report writer. So in this system, some of the dimensions that we commonly see is being able to track things by services or departments, maybe by different funding sources, maybe you have different types of restrictions. And one of the beauties of Sage Intacct is you can incorporate what we call parent-child relationships. So maybe I have different things that I want to roll up into higher categories. I'm able to do that at a more granular level. This makes reporting much easier, and also the report writer is highly flexible in that I can filter reports in a non-sequential order as well if I wanted to cherry pick and put certain codes together for an ad hoc type report. So let's take a look at the reports. Again, the system comes with 150 reports out of the box. The report writer is all built into the browser, so it's not using any other plugins. You don't have to be a programmer to learn how to do this. I've got some pre-built reports here that I've designed, but all of these will just render in the browser. So let me show some examples here. Maybe I have a forecasting report where I want to see how things are progressing over the course of the year. This report here shows me I've got monthly columns kind of side by side. I've then got the remainder of the year with my operating budget that's been populated into the system. Notice every single number on the grid and screen here is drillable with more detailed information. I can also expand and collapse sections on the fly, so maybe I want to see more detail under personnel expenses. I can click the expand arrow, it'll refresh, and again in real time I'm then seeing the individual account balances. I've then got some additional calculations going on here, like what's my forecast for those 12 months, how does it compare to last year, and what's my variance of this year versus last year. You'll notice every report can be filtered by any of the dimensions that I have enabled. I can print to PDF, other document types, export to Excel, or email a PDF or Excel copy to even external users outside of the Sage system. I'll point out two other reports that are kind of interesting. For those that have a lot of funding sources, you can incorporate grants or funders. And when I run a type of report like this, it's a little bit different than a financial statement. Basically, each grant, as I go down the line here, is a line item. And this is very difficult to get in other systems in that each grant, in this case, maybe has a different date range that doesn't coincide with my fiscal year. I can input a grant budget overall, run it for that entire time frame, also see all of my actual expenses or revenues collected against that grant, and just kind of go down the line and see how each one is performing. So this operates much more like an Excel pivot table rather than a granular account report for a revenue and expense or a balance sheet. And then lastly, I'll leave one other report out here. If I was bringing in other information beyond just financial numbers into the system, maybe a number of individuals, patients, those types of things. Here I've got different program services as my rows this time. I've got an overall revenue category, expenses, and these three columns here are not dollars. These are some other statistical value. So in this case, I'm recording the number of patient visits. So I could see in home visiting, I've got 435. I only planned for 350, so we actually saw more individuals in that program. And then I can also do math calculations, like what's the average expense per visit or something like that. Again, a very unique report that's all been able to come directly out of the accounting system and not have to be exported to Excel. So there's a full report writer. The other most common area that we see health departments benefiting from Sage Intacct is the purchasing and workflow capabilities. So there's a fair amount of transactions that can be completed and passed through the organization. I'm going to come up to this overview screen. This is what we call the swim lanes, and I can kind of see visually here how things can progress throughout a workflow process. So I can have someone come out and start maybe a new requisition. Again, they might have restrictions in terms of what they can access or who their approvers are and that type of thing. But you'll notice up at the top, I'm able to submit this. And the system is smart enough to know who to send it to based upon my setup for an approval. And they can have email alerts. They can see if they're going to go over or under budget. And then you can ensure that you're following the proper internal controls as things get routed throughout the organization. There are then subsequent steps to, say, convert a requisition to a purchase order. Maybe I need to receive the goods or services. I need to match it up to the invoice before it can be fully invoiced and expensed over to accounts payable. So that's all built directly in the system. Let me cheat here and show you one that I already had pre-populated. Come out to my purchase orders as an example. And this one is in a draft state. It's already been coded, entered, etc. One of the things that's really nice about going to a paperless environment is the ability to add an attachment. So in this case, nothing has been attached, but if I'm an end user and I need to supply my supporting documentation, I can literally grab attachments. This is coming off of another file directory here, but I just released those directly on the screen, kind of flashes green, and now those are all attached as a part of this transaction. And each step of the way, whether it's the purchase order, the shipping remittance or label, the invoice number itself, those are all going to be available then directly in the browser. So again, you'll notice up here at the top, I could say submit. It'll go ahead and go to the next person as the approval process. Once transactions are approved, then it will show up in accounts payable, where you have a full invoicing and payment system. So lots of different ways to pay things, whether you're paying by check or ACH or by credit card, that's all available. You can process year-end forms directly out of the system, like your 1099s and your 1096. You can do a positive pay file, lots of different options depending upon how you process things. And for those of you that maybe work a little bit differently in your county. Maybe you don't issue payments and you need to get a report over to the county office. That's fine as well. We can design those, have them be a part of the workflow process, and transmit it as well. So lots of different things that can be completed here within Sage Intacct. That's kind of a high-level tour here. There's other things I could go into, but again, hope this was kind of an icebreaker here to learn more about we're seeing how health boards are utilizing a cloud-based solution such as Sage Intacct. Thank you.